The shame you cannot name. Buddhist stories and teachings for those who feel deeply flawed. This is not about something you did. That is the first thing to say, because most of us know fairly well how to handle guilt. Guilt has a shape. It attaches to a specific action, a specific moment, a specific thing said or done or left undone. Guilt says, I did something wrong. And because it has a shape, it has, at least in theory, a resolution. You can apologize. You can make amends. You can change the behavior. You can, over time, forgive yourself for the specific thing, and the guilt, if you tend to it properly, can eventually lift. This is not that. What you are carrying tonight is something different. Something that does not attach to a specific moment or a specific action. Something that does not say, I did something wrong, but says, much more quietly and much more persistently, I am something wrong. This is shame. Not the word you would necessarily use, perhaps. It is a word that feels large and clinical and borrowed from therapy. Not the word you would reach for to describe the thing that lives in you at 2 in the morning, the thing that makes you replay, not just what you did, but who you are, the thing that whispers in a voice that sounds troublingly like your own, that the reason your life has gone the way it has, the reason certain things have not worked out, the reason certain people have left or not stayed or never quite seen you fully is because of something in you, something fundamental, something that has been there for as long as you can remember, that you have managed and hidden and worked around and occasionally almost forgotten about, but that is always there underneath. The quiet conviction that you are, in some essential way, not quite right, not broken exactly, not evil, not irredeemable, just not quite right. As though everyone else received something in the beginning that you did not, some basic sufficiency that they wear naturally, that you have been performing or pretending to or compensating for ever since, and that some days someone will see through the performance and the whole structure will come down. This is what shame does. It lives below the level of action. It is not about what you do. It is about what you are. And because it is about what you are, it is harder to address, harder to name, harder to bring into the light where it can be examined. The Buddhist teachers had a great deal to say about this. Not about shame specifically. The word does not map perfectly, but about the fundamental misapprehension it rests on. The belief that you are, at your core, insufficient. The belief that there is something wrong with you that must be hidden. The belief that your basic nature is a problem to be solved rather than a ground to be inhabited. They called this belief a delusion, not in the dismissive sense, not to minimize the very real suffering it causes, but in the precise sense, a mistaken perception of what is actually there. An error in the reading of the self, understandable, common, deeply entrenched, and not true. Tonight, we will sit with 6 stories about this. About monks who believed they were unworthy, and students who hid, and an old woman who discovered, very late, that the thing she had been covering her whole life was not what she thought it was. About the difference between the self you perform and the self that is already there underneath. about the particular liberation that comes not from fixing yourself, but from recognizing that there was nothing to fix. This is not about something you did. Come, let us begin. Welcome to everyone who is here. Perhaps you arrived tonight carrying something that is difficult to name, a feeling about yourself that is not quite guilt and not quite sadness, but something older and quieter than both. Something that has been with you so long you have almost stopped noticing it, except at night, when the distractions fall away and it is simply there. You do not have to name it tonight. You only have to be here. Before we begin, feel free to share what time it is and where you are listening from. There is a story, very old, from the Buddhist tradition, perhaps the oldest story in the tradition, the one that everything else grows from. A man sat beneath a tree and, after a long night of sitting, he woke up, not from sleep, from something deeper, from the particular sleep of believing yourself to be separate, insufficient, incomplete, the sleep of the self that is always working, always compensating, always managing the distance between who it is and who it believes it should be. He woke from that, and what he found on the other side of the waking was something he described in many ways across the following decades of teaching. But one of the ways he described it was this: that what he found was not something new, not something acquired or achieved or built. What he found was what had always been there, the ground of things, the basic, unadorned, sufficient nature that had been present all along, beneath the accumulation of fear and performance and self-management. He called it, among other things, Buddha nature, the nature of awakening. And one of the most radical things he taught about it, radical enough that it has been argued over and refined and translated and interpreted for 2,500 years, is that it is not the possession of the few. It is not achieved by the spiritually advanced or granted to the deserving or earned through sufficient practice. It is the basic nature of every being, already present, already whole, already whole. This is the teaching that lands most strangely against shame, because shame says, I am not whole. I am missing something essential. There is a gap between me and sufficiency that I have been trying to bridge my whole life and have never quite managed. And the teaching says the gap is not real. The insufficiency is not real. Not because your suffering isn't real. It is, profoundly. But because the thing you believe is missing is not actually missing. It has never been missing. It has been here all along, covered over by the accumulated weight of what you were told about yourself, what you concluded about yourself, what you decided about yourself in the early years when you were too young to know that you had other options. The Zen tradition has a phrase for this: your original face, the face you had before your parents were born, before the world began to tell you what it needed you to be, before the comparing and the measuring and the falling short. Your original face is the face of sufficiency, of completeness, of the basic rightness of your own existence. You have not lost it. It has not gone anywhere. It is underneath the shame. It has been there the whole time. 6 stories about finding it. Let us begin. Let us explore a story about a student who believed she was unworthy of the teaching and what her teacher showed her about what was actually in the way. Her name was May, and she had come to the monastery at 22, which was later than most students came, and which she had already decided was evidence of something, of slowness, of being behind, of having recognized the path after others had already walked some distance on it. She had decided, before she arrived, that she would need to work harder than everyone else to make up for the time lost. The teacher's name was Master Yun, and she was a small, unhurried woman who had been teaching for 40 years and who noticed things about students that the students had not yet noticed about themselves. She noticed in May's first week that May bowed very quickly. This is a small thing, but in the tradition, the bow is not a small thing. It is the practice of meeting, of acknowledging, of being present to what is in front of you. A bow done too quickly is a bow that is trying to get through the bow rather than be in it. It is, in a certain sense, the opposite of a bow. Master Yun did not say anything about this immediately. She watched for several weeks. The pattern held. May bowed to the altar, to the teachers, to the other students, always with the same quality. A quick, almost apologetic motion, as though she were uncomfortable being seen in the act of bowing, as though she were trying to minimize the amount of space she took up, even in the ordinary ritual of greeting. One afternoon, Master Yun asked May to stay after practice. "Show me your bow," she said. May bowed, quickly, efficiently, correctly in its form. "Again," Master Yun said. May bowed again. "What are you bowing to?" Master Yun asked. May was confused. "To you, teacher," she said. "And who is bowing?" May opened her mouth and found she did not have an immediate answer. "Sit with me," Master Yun said. They sat. The afternoon light came through the window in a long panel, dust moving in it slowly. "When you bow," Master Yun said, "you move very quickly, as though you want the bow to be over, as though you are not sure you have the right to take the space." She looked at May steadily. "Why?" May was quiet for a long time. Then she said something she had not planned to say and did not fully understand until she heard herself say it. "Because I'm not sure I deserve to be here." Master Yun nodded slowly, not in agreement, in recognition, as though this was what she had been waiting to hear. "Tell me about that," she said. May told her. It took a long time and was not entirely coherent, and touched things she had not spoken about before. The feeling of being perpetually behind, the sense of a gap between herself and some basic sufficiency that everyone else seemed to possess naturally. The exhausting work of performing competence when underneath she felt fundamentally uncertain of her own right to be where she was. Master Yun listened to all of it. Then she said, "What you are describing is not a truth about yourself. It is a story about yourself, a very old story, written when you were too young to know the difference." She paused. "And the story has become so familiar that you have mistaken it for your face. But it is not your face. It is a mask you put on so long ago that you forgot it was a mask." May looked at her. "How do I take it off?" "The same way you do everything else," Master Yun said. One bow at a time, she stood. Tomorrow morning, bow slowly. Take the full space of the bow. Don't apologize for the time it takes. Just bow. She looked at May. Whatever comes up, whatever voice says you don't deserve to take that space, notice it and bow anyway. May bowed slowly for many months. It was not comfortable at first. The discomfort of taking space she had long convinced herself she did not deserve. But gradually, in the physical practice of the slow bow, something shifted. Not dramatically, not all at once. Gradually, the way ice shifts in the early spring, not visible from day to day, but undeniable across a season. She had not changed. She had simply begun, very slowly, to be where she was. Let us pause here for a moment. Is there a way you make yourself small? A quick bow of your own, a habit of minimizing, of apologizing, of moving through space as though you are not sure you have the right to take it. You are not being asked to explain why. You are only being asked to notice. Whatever is underneath the smallness has been there a very long time, and it is not the mask. When you are ready, we will continue together. Let us explore a story about a monk who could not stop cleaning, and what his teacher helped him see about what he was actually trying to do. His name was Brother Shen, and he was meticulous. This was, in most respects, a virtue. The monastery was clean. The grounds were tended. The teaching hall floor, in particular, was swept by Brother Shen every morning and every evening with a devotion that the other monks admired and that their teachers observed with a certain careful attention. Brother Shen swept and cleaned and arranged and rearranged, and if something was out of place, he noticed it immediately and could not entirely rest until it was put right. This was not a problem exactly. The monastery benefited from his attention, but it was also not, the teachers suspected, purely about the monastery. Brother Shen's teacher was an old monk named Master Bao, who was known for asking questions that seemed simple and were not. He came to Brother Shen one morning as Shen was sweeping the same corner of the teaching hall for the second time and asked, "Is the floor dirty?" Shen looked at it. "Not very," he said. "Then why are you sweeping it?" Shen considered this. "It could be cleaner," he said. "Could it?" Master Bao looked at the floor, which was, by any objective measure, already clean. He looked at Shen. What would happen if you stopped? Something moved across Shen's face, something quick and uncomfortable, there and gone. "The floor would get dirty," he said. Eventually, Master Bao agreed, and Shen was quiet. "What are you afraid would happen if the floor were dirty?" Master Bao asked. This question sat in the air between them for a long time. Brother Shen found, to his own surprise, that there was an answer underneath the silence, one he had not expected to find. Not about the floor at all. Something older. Something about the belief that if things were not maintained perfectly, something essential would be revealed. Some be revealed. Some inadequacy. Some wrongness. Something he had been managing and keeping covered with the sweeping and the cleaning and the constant attention to what needed to be fixed. "I don't know," he said finally. But the way he said it meant, "I think I do know, and I am not ready to say it. Master Bao nodded. The sweeping is not wrong, he said. A clean floor is a good floor. But when the cleaning becomes a way of covering something you are afraid to look at, it is no longer cleaning. It is hiding. He sat down beside the broom. What are you hiding from? Brother Shen sat with this question for many days. What he eventually found in the sitting was this, that the meticulous cleaning was a form of management, an attempt to control what could be controlled, to create in the external world a perfection that would somehow compensate for what he believed was imperfect in himself. If the monastery were clean enough, beautiful enough, ordered enough, perhaps the disorder he felt inside, the sense of something fundamentally not right, would not be noticed, would not matter, would be offset. He told Master Bao this one evening, haltingly. Master Bao listened. Then he said, "The thing you are trying to offset, describe it to me." Shen tried. He could not find exact words for it. It was not a specific failure or a specific wound. It was more like a texture, a quality, an ambient sense that had been with him so long he had stopped being able to see it separately from himself. "Yes," Master Bao said when Shen finished, "that is shame, and shame cannot be swept away. You have been trying to sweep it for many years, and the floor is very clean, and the shame is exactly where it was." He looked at Shen with the particular steadiness of someone who had seen this before. What you are trying to clean is not dirty. It never was. It only looks dirty from the inside of the story you have been telling yourself. Brother Shen did not immediately stop sweeping. You do not immediately stop doing what you have done for 20 years. But he began slowly to notice the difference between sweeping the floor because the floor needed sweeping, and sweeping the floor because he was afraid to stop. And in the noticing, something began, not a cure, not a resolution, but a small and persistent light on something that had been in the dark for a very long time. Let us pause here for a moment. Is there something you tend to? Not because it needs tending, but because the tending keeps you from having to be still with something underneath. A project, a task, a form of busyness that has a quality of hiding to it. You don't have to stop, but you might notice. What would you find if you set the broom down? When you are ready, we will continue together. Let us explore a story about a woman who kept a very careful distance between who she was in public and who she was in private, and what happened when the distance finally collapsed. Her name was Hana, and she was accomplished. This was the truth, and also, in a certain sense, the problem, not the accomplishment itself, but the relationship she had developed with it. The accomplishment had become her argument, her evidence, the case she made continuously against the quiet inner verdict that said, not enough. She had built a life that was, by every external measure, successful. Work she was good at. Relationships she maintained carefully. A reputation for competence that she had earned and continued to earn every day with an effort that only she fully knew the cost of. Because the competence was real. She was genuinely skilled, genuinely capable, but it was also performed in the sense that it was always doing double duty, being competent and proving she was not what the inner voice said she was. The performance was exhausting. She came to a teacher not because she was in crisis. She was not, by outward measures, in crisis, but because she was tired. A particular kind of tired that had nothing to do with how much she had slept. Tired of the management. Tired of the distance between the person she presented and the person she suspected she actually was. Tired of the constant argument. The teacher was a woman named Grandmother Song, who was old enough to have seen many people arrive at her door, carrying exactly this particular tiredness. "Tell me about the two faces," Grandmother Song said, almost before Hannah had sat down. Hannah looked at her. "How did you know?" "I didn't," she said. "But most people who come to me as tired as you are come in two faces." Hannah told her. She told her about the accomplished face and the private face, about the argument she was always making with the inner voice, about the exhaustion of the maintenance. She told her things she had not told anyone, because the nature of the two-faced life is that neither face has anyone to tell. The public face cannot show the private face, and the private face has no one to trust with itself. Grandmother Song listened to all of it without interruption. Then she asked, "Which face is the real one?" Hannah started to answer. "The private face, of course. That's the whole point," and then stopped. "Think carefully," Grandmother Song said. Hannah thought carefully. The accomplished face was real. The accomplishments were genuine. The capability was genuine. The care she brought to her work and relationships was genuine. She had not fabricated these. They were hers. The private face was also real. The fear, the inadequacy, the sense of not enoughness, these were genuinely felt and genuinely present. "Both," Hannah said slowly. "Yes," Grandmother Song said. "Both." And neither. She looked at Hannah steadily. "The face that is looking at me right now, the one that is tired, that told me the truth, that has been holding the two faces apart with enormous effort for many years. That face is not either of the two faces. That face is what was there before the story divided it." Hannah sat with this for a long time. "The inner voice that says, 'Not enough,'" Grandmother Song said. "How old is it?" Hannah thought about it. She tried to locate when it had started. She found she could not find a beginning. It seemed to have always been there, or at least to have been there long enough that she could not find a time before it. "Very old," she said. "Yes," Grandmother Song said. "It is a child's conclusion, made when you were too small to know that a child's conclusions about themselves are not reliable. Children conclude things about themselves from very limited evidence, from how they were treated, from what they were told, from what they needed to believe in order to make sense of difficult experiences." She paused. A child's conclusion about themselves is not a truth. It is a story told by someone too young and too frightened to know they had other options. Hannah left that conversation without resolution. These things do not resolve in a single conversation, but she left with something she had not had when she arrived. The possibility that the inner verdict had been issued by an unreliable judge, that the voice saying "not enough" was not the voice of truth, but the voice of an old story, told so long ago and repeated so many times that she had forgotten it was a story. The two faces did not merge overnight, but Hannah began slowly to stop holding them so far apart. Let us pause here for a moment. Is there a distance you maintain between who you are in public and who you are in private? Between the face you show and the face you suspect is the real one. What if both faces are real? What if neither face is the whole truth? And what if the one who is tired of holding them apart, that one, the tired one, the one who is here tonight, what if that is closer to your actual face than either of the two? When you are ready, we will continue together. Let us explore a parable about a jar that believed its crack made it worthless, and what the gardener showed it about what the crack had made possible. The gardener had 2 jars, and every morning she carried them to the well and filled them and walked back along the path to water the garden. 1 jar was whole. 1 jar had a crack along its side, and by the time the walk was finished, half the water had leaked out. The whole jar arrived full every morning and was proud of this. The cracked jar arrived half empty every morning and was ashamed. And one morning, on the walk back from the well, the cracked jar spoke. "I am sorry," it said to the gardener. "Every morning I lose half the water before we arrive. You should replace me with a jar that does not leak. I am not serving you properly." The gardener looked at the jar. Then she said, "Look at the path on your side." The cracked jar looked. Along the path, on its side, the side where the water had been leaking every morning for as long as it could remember, flowers were growing. Not on the other side, the side the whole jar had watered. On the cracked jar's side, a long, bright line of flowers, growing from the water it had thought it was wasting. "I knew about your crack," the gardener said. "I planted seeds on your side of the path a long time ago. Every morning you water them. The whole jar has its virtue. But without you and your particular crack, there would be no flowers on this side of the path." The cracked jar was quiet for a long time. The gardener was not saying the crack didn't exist. She was not saying the crack was irrelevant. She was not offering false comfort. The crack was real. The leaking was real. The half-empty arrival every morning was real. She was saying that what the jar had experienced as pure deficiency had, in the hands of someone who knew about it and worked with it rather than against it, become something else entirely. Not in spite of the crack, because of it. This is one of the oldest turns in Buddhist teaching. The recognition that what we experience as our wound, our flaw, our fundamental wrongness, is also, in certain lights and in certain hands, our particular gift. Not because suffering is secretly good, not because wounds don't hurt, but because the crack, the place of breaking, the place of not whole, this is also the place where things can enter and exit that cannot pass through solid walls, the place of porousness, the place where the water comes through. You are not less than the whole jar. You are differently shaped. And the flowers that have grown from your particular leaking, the empathy, the depth, the specific understanding that only comes from having been cracked, those flowers are not despite you. they are you. Let us pause here for a moment. What if the thing you have most wanted to fix about yourself is also the thing that has allowed something in you that would not otherwise be there? You are not being asked to be grateful for your pain. You are only being asked to notice what has grown on your side of the path. When you are ready, we will continue together. Let us explore a story about a teacher who spent 30 years believing he was not enlightened enough to teach, and what his own student showed him. His name was Master Gui, and he had been teaching for 30 years and did not believe he was qualified to teach. This sounds paradoxical. It was. But shame has a particular relationship with achievement. It does not release when achievement arrives. If anything, achievement increases the stakes, because now there is more to lose if the underlying insufficiency is discovered. Master Gui was, by every external measure, an excellent teacher. His students came from many places and left with genuine transformation. The teachings he gave were precise and warm and adapted with care to each student who came. He had, in 30 years, helped many people. He did not believe he had helped anyone enough, not because his standards were high, though they were, because of the inner voice, the very old one, that said, "You are not the real thing." Real teachers have something you do not have. You are managing an impression. Eventually, they will see. He had a student named Young Quan who had been studying with him for 5 years and who had, in those 5 years, undergone the kind of genuine transformation that you cannot manufacture and cannot fake. He was different in ways that were visible to everyone who knew him. More settled, more present, more capable of being in difficult circumstances without being destroyed by them. One afternoon, Young Quan came to Master Gui with a question. "Teacher," he said, "how did you become who you are?" Master Gui looked at him. "I don't know what you mean," he said. "The quality in you," Young Quan said, "the steadiness, the way you are the same whether it is an easy day or a difficult one, the way you don't seem to need anything from the teaching to go a particular way. I want to know how you arrived at that." Master Gui was quiet for a long time. He was quiet because what Young Quan had described was not, from the inside, recognizable to him. From the inside, he saw the doubt, the insufficiency, the 30 years of waiting for the feeling of being enough that had never fully arrived. He did not see the steadiness Young Quan saw. He did not recognize the quality that his student was describing. "I am not sure I have what you are describing," he said finally. Young Quan looked at him with something like surprise. "Teacher," he said quietly, "I have sat with you for 5 years. I know what I see." They sat in silence for a long time. Master Gui thought about the 30 years, about all the mornings he had arrived to teach, while carrying the belief that he was not the real thing, about all the students he had helped, whilst convinced that a real teacher would have helped them more, about the gap he had lived in between who he was and who he believed he should be, that had been his constant companion. He thought about the fact that the gap had not prevented anything, had not prevented Young Quan's transformation, had not prevented the 30 years of genuine service, had existed fully and painfully, alongside everything he had given. "Do you know what your doubt has given me?" Young Kwan said, as though reading the thought. "Watching you doubt yourself and teach anyway. Watching you not be certain and give the teaching anyway. That has been its own kind of teaching." He paused. "If you had been certain, I would have thought certainty was required. Watching you be uncertain and present anyway, that I could use." Master Gui sat with this for a very long time. He did not, in that conversation, resolve the doubt. The doubt was old, and the resolution of old things is not sudden. But something shifted. The possibility that the insufficiency he had been managing for 30 years had not, in fact, been the obstacle he believed it was, that it had been there, and the teaching had also been there, and the two had coexisted without the insufficiency cancelling the teaching. That who he was had been enough, even while he was convinced it was not. Let us pause here for a moment. Is there something you have been doing despite the inner voice, despite the doubt, the insufficiency, the sense of not being the real thing? Something you have shown up for anyway, have given anyway, have been present to anyway? What if showing up, despite the doubt, has been part of the gift? What if the uncertainty has been, for someone in your life, a teaching you did not know you were giving? When you are ready, we will continue together. Let us explore a story about a woman who spent her whole life looking into a well to check her reflection, and what she saw when she finally looked up. Her name was Grandmother Dao, and she was 80 years old, and every morning of her life she had stood at the well in her courtyard and looked down at the water to see her reflection. This is not unusual, but Grandmother Dao's relationship with her reflection was not usual. She did not look to check that her hair was tidy or her face was clean. She looked to check something else, something she could not have named precisely, but that had to do with the question, am I all right? Is there something wrong with me today that I need to manage? Is the thing I am afraid people will see visible this morning? Every morning the check. She had done this since she was a young woman. She could not remember when it had started. It had simply always been there, the need to check, to manage, to make sure the surface was presenting correctly before going into the world. Her granddaughter noticed it one morning. "Grandmother," she said, watching the old woman stand at the well, "what are you looking for?" Grandmother Dao was quiet for a long time. Then she said something that surprised her. "I don't know anymore." She stood there, looking down at the water, at the reflection of her 80-year-old face, the face that had been checked every morning for 60-something years, and she found, for the first time, that she could not quite remember what she had originally been afraid to see. She knew it had been there once. The fear, the specific thing that needed checking. But 80 years is a long time, and the original fear had become something else, a habit, a ritual, an automatic reaching for the mirror that no longer needed the original fear to continue. "What do you see?" her granddaughter asked. Grandmother Dao looked at her reflection. "An old woman," she said. "Is that all?" She looked more carefully. She saw the face she had been looking at for 80 years, checking it, managing it, presenting it, hiding behind it, and trying to correct it, and worrying about what it revealed. She saw all of that history in the face, and underneath the history, something she had not expected to find. Just a face. Just the face that had been there before the checking had started, that had been there through all the checking, that would be there if she stopped checking. A face that was not trying to be anything, not managing anything, not hiding anything. Just there, looking back at her from the well. She stood at the well for a long time. Then she stepped back and looked up. The sky was the kind of blue that only happens in early morning. A color she could not name, deep and specific and completely itself, not trying to be anything, not managing any impression. She looked at it for a long time. She went inside without checking again. This was not a sudden cure or a resolution or a permanent transformation. The next morning she stood at the well again. The habit was 60 years old, and habits that old do not release in a single morning. But she stayed a little less time than usual, and the morning after that a little less. And one morning, some weeks later, she found that she had walked past the well entirely and not noticed until she was inside. She went back and looked. The water reflected the sky. Just sky. Let us pause here for a moment. Where is your well? The mirror you check. The reflection you look for. To reassure yourself that whatever you are afraid people will see is adequately hidden. You have been checking for a long time. You are allowed tonight to look up instead. The sky does not check its reflection. It is simply the sky. When you are ready, we will continue together. 6 stories. May, bowing too quickly, learning to take the full space of the bow. Brother Shen, sweeping the already clean floor, learning to put down the broom and look at what was underneath. Hannah with her 2 faces, learning that neither face was the complete truth and that the one who held them apart, the tired one, the one who told the truth, was closer to her real face than either. The cracked jar, learning that the flowers on its side of the path grew not despite the crack, but from it. Master Gui, teaching for 30 years in doubt, learning from his student that the doubt had not prevented the teaching and had perhaps been a teaching of its own. And Grandmother Dao, stepping back from the well, looking up at the sky, all of them pointing at the same thing. Shame rests on a mistake. Not a moral failing, not a character flaw, not a fundamental wrongness. A mistake, a perceptual error, a conclusion drawn from insufficient evidence by someone who was too young and too frightened to know they had other options. The conclusion was, I am not enough. The evidence was the specific circumstances of early life, the ways I was treated or not treated, the things I was told or not told, the gaps I found between what I needed and what was available. From this evidence, which was real, which was genuinely difficult, which left genuine marks, a conclusion was drawn. The conclusion felt logical. It felt like the only available explanation. It became, over time, so thoroughly integrated into the sense of self that it stopped feeling like a conclusion at all. It started feeling like a fact, like a feature of reality, like just the way things are. But it was always a conclusion. a story, an interpretation, not the ground of things. The ground of things, what the Buddhist tradition calls Buddha nature, what the Zen tradition calls your original face, is not something you achieve or acquire or prove. It is not waiting at the end of sufficient self-improvement. It is not the reward for fixing what is wrong with you. It is what is already there underneath the story. What was there before the story started? What remains untouched and sufficient when the story is set aside? Grandmother Tao's reflection in the well, the one beneath 60 years of checking, was just a face, not insufficient, not excessive, not in need of management, just a face already itself, already whole. Your original face is like that. It is not a face without difficulty. You have had difficulties, real ones, and they have left real marks. It is not a face without complication. It is not the face you would have constructed if you had designed yourself in advance. It is the face that has been there through all of it, the one that watched the conclusions being drawn and was never quite the conclusions themselves, the one that is here right now, in this bed, in this body, in this night, tired, perhaps, of the checking, of the managing, of the distance between the face you show and the face you suspect you are. That one. That is closer to your original face than any of the stories. The crack in the jar is real, and the flowers grew from it. The doubt in Master Gui was real, and the teaching came from it, alongside it, in spite of it, because of it. The two faces Hannah carried were both real, and the one underneath them, the tired one, the honest one, was more real than either. You are not what the old story says you are. You are what is here when the story is quiet, which is here, now, if you let it be. Let the checking rest now, not permanently. You are not being asked to dismantle overnight what has been built over decades, simply for these hours, for the body's sake, for the ordinary mercy of a mind that is allowed, just for now, to stop auditing itself. Notice where you are holding yourself. There is almost certainly somewhere the shoulders, the jaw, the chest, the specific quality of bracing that is so familiar you have stopped noticing it as bracing and begun to experience it as simply how you feel. Notice it. Just that. Notice without needing to fix it immediately, and breathe into it, not to dissolve it, not to fix it, just to remind it that it is known, that it is seen, that you are aware of it, and it does not have to work quite so hard tonight, because the night is not asking anything of it. The jaw can be just a jaw. The shoulders can be just shoulders. The chest can be the chest. You do not have to be anything tonight except what you are, which is enough, has always been enough, was enough before you were told otherwise, and has remained enough through everything that followed. The crack is there. The flowers grew from it. The doubt is there. The teaching came from it. The tiredness is there, and the tiredness is not evidence of your insufficiency. It is evidence of how hard you have worked, for how long, on behalf of a verdict that was never accurate. You can rest from that work tonight, not permanently. Tomorrow the checking will be there, and you can decide then what to do with it. But tonight, Tonight you can simply be in this body, in this breath, in this darkness that holds you without needing you to be anything in particular. The sky does not check its reflection. You do not have to either. We have traveled together tonight to a monastery where a student learned to bow slowly, to a courtyard where a monk learned to set down the broom, to a conversation about two faces and one tired truth, to a garden path lined with flowers that grew from a crack, to a teaching hall where doubt and service lived side by side for 30 years, and to a well where a woman finally looked up, all of it pointing at this. The story that says you are not enough is very old. It is not the truth. And underneath it, beneath the checking, the managing, the distance between the face you show and the face you fear you are, your original face, has been there the whole time, sufficient, already whole, waiting without impatience for you to look up. Sleep well, and thank you for joining us here at Quiet Lotus Sleep.